Hello and welcome to the McTaggart Attack Podcast. And in today's episode, I, Kevin McTaggart, am going to talk about personal philosophy. My personal philosophy. It turns out I've had one all this time, but I read a book recently that talked about establishing a personal philosophy. So I read it, and I thought I would do a podcast episode about it today. So if you want to hear me talk about that, go ahead and hit the subscribe button on YouTube and like the episode. And if you're listening to this on the podcast, subscribe, rate, and review. Thanks. Anyway, I read a book last week. It's from Michal Stawicki. It's called The Trickle Down Mindset. And I thought the book was pretty interesting. It was a free book that I got from some email thing that I'm subscribed to. How many email chains are you subscribed to? Seriously, you sign up for something, you give your name and your email, and you get all this stuff. And I think I got this through the comedy business school that I paid for a few months back, and they'll send you free books to sign up for, free ebooks. So I'm like, I don't buy all of them. I don't download all of them, just the ones that I find interesting, because I find stuff like mindset and entrepreneurial stuff and other stuff like that interesting. Self-improvement is a big thing I've been into for years now, actually. So that's why I read that book. And a big thing I got from the book was it talked about how you need to have a personal philosophy. Because if you have a good personal philosophy, it will trickle down to everything else. You know? You need to start with a good personal philosophy, and then it'll all build up from there. You know? That's basically it. Another part of it I liked was it talked about one problem that I've had with the self-help genre is I read all these books and I want to remember everything, and a lot of times they tell you, oh, write down these steps to follow exactly, and I never do that, because how can I write these things down? Because most of the time when I listen to these books, I'm in my car. I can't write down something when I'm in my car. I can't use a cell phone when I'm in my car. I sure as hell can't write things down in my car. So yeah, but one thing I talked about was just sort of taking things from various places. Taking information that you get from various books and combining them together. And I thought that was interesting. Another thing it talked about was this, I forget what the exact law is called, but it's one of the laws of nature, and I thought it was interesting, was, what was it? Failure is, wait, I think I actually have it. Failure is a few errors in judgment repeated every day. Success is a few simple disciplines practiced every day. So I thought that was interesting, and that is true. I mean, I think about if you want to lose weight or exercise more or something like that. A discipline you could do is go exercise, go run every day, or run or walk every day. Try to do that. That sort of discipline. Something like that. A failure would be eating chocolate cake every day. Yeah. Or failure would be not exercising every day, is what that would be. makes sense. But the big thing from it, I think, that I thought of was personal philosophy, and I think I've had one. I don't know if it's necessarily a philosophy, but like I know when I go running, I don't run that much lately. Haven't run that much in COVID. But I walk a lot. I walk almost every day. But when I was running, when I lost like 50 pounds back in 2012, I started out by like walking a lot, and then I slowly changed that into running. And I would run, and a lot of times when I started running, I would run a little bit, then walk, then run. I'd run until I got tired and started walking the rest of the way. And then eventually I just ran the whole time. And one thing that I would say to myself when I was running, and if it started to like hurt, or if things started to get sore, from me, God forbid, doing exercise, exerting myself, I usually say something to myself like, I like the pain, it feels good. And I'm thinking that is probably my personal philosophy. I like the pain, it feels good. Maybe not a personal philosophy, but more like a mantra. Because I'm not saying, like, when I say pain can relate to a lot of things to me. Pain can resort to actual pain, physical pain, or like mental pain, mental anguish or something like that. Being tired could count as pain. Lots of things can count as pain. But fear can count as pain. Being afraid of something, and I'm afraid of a lot. And I try to do something based on whether I'm scared of it or not. I do more stuff now that I'm scared of doing because it's some sort of pain, and I do find myself thinking, oh, I'm scared to do this. It can be anything, and I'll get up and do it, and that can be pain also. But like, it did help me saying that to myself over and over again while I was running, and I've never really used it for anything else. At least I didn't think that I did, but I guess I kind of do apply it to other stuff, because that's what it is. That can be saying I like the pain, it feels good, can be a trickle down sort of personal philosophy. That's my personal philosophy. That's what I say to myself. That's what I think. And it can deal with anything, like, because if we avoid stuff that hurts, then we're never going to do anything. Never. We won't do anything. We'll be too scared to leave the house. We'll resort to stuff that's comfortable. Don't want to do anything that's comfortable. So that's how that saying has been helpful to me over the years. But I used it mostly for exercise. But I'm slowly but surely applying it to everything else. See, trickle down. Like Trickle Down Mindset. Like that book, Michal Stawicki, that I'm telling you about today. I don't know if I mentioned the book earlier, the name and the title, but I will list that name and the title of the book in the show notes. But yeah, I've that's my personal philosophy. I like the pain. It feels good. And by feeling good, it sounds kind of sadomasochistic. But, like, it'll feel good once you get through that barrier. Fear is a barrier. Or pain is a barrier. Once you get through that barrier, it's going to feel good. Once you get through that bad thing, it'll feel good afterward. You know? Something bad's happening now with this virus pandemic. But once it's over, it's going to be good. As long as we're still around to see it. And that's my personal philosophy. I like the pain. It feels good. Saying it out loud. I've never really said it out loud to people before. I usually just say it to myself. But telling you what it is feels good because I was scared to do it. See, I was scared. I felt this pain of fear. Pain that was actually fear of me saying it out loud. And me saying it out loud actually feels good now that I've said it out loud. Turns out I've been following this personal philosophy. I just had no idea that I was following it for everything. I think it just sort of trickled down from the running. Like I said, the Trickle Down Mindset by Michal Stawicki. And that's all I've got for this episode of the McTaggart Attack Podcast. Thanks for watching and or listening, or both. That would be great. And let's see. Oh, one more thing. If you'd like to contribute to my charity, the Get Kevin the Fuck Out of His Parents' House Fund, you can find me on Venmo at McTaggart Attack or McTaggartAttack@gmail.com on PayPal. That's also the email address. And you can find me on social media at McTaggart Attack on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok.